Matthew Lee, Inner City Press, on behalf of the Free UN Coalition for Access. Thanks a lot for doing the briefing. I went back and looked up when the Secretary General wrote to, I guess, to council members in March, early March, and he said, the topic of the retreat will be, quote, a new narrative of peace operations in the context of partnerships with regional and sub-regional organizations, and he would circulate a discussion paper in the first week of April. Has this totally been superseded by what you're describing, or is that in fact the topic? Has such a position paper been circulated?
I wouldn't say it's totally been superseded, but I think it's important also to, at the time, this was certainly the focus of our discussion. This was, in the context of what was then called the surge. And so I think that was the intention at the time. This will still be a major part of the agenda. I think that there is clearly a need to sit down and discuss, okay, what is really needed and what do we do now, and particularly about mandates and how we can improve the mandates, which is part, the main responsibility of the council when it comes to peacekeeping. And so, and the second one being, our relations with, or the relation between the UN, the council, and regional organizations in cases where they are implementing UN-mandated operations like AMISOM or G5 Sahel. And so I think that's another issue that needs to be discussed in this context, not least in view of the fact that we are going to move into a process where we will need to take more operational decisions on those issues. And so that would certainly still be on the agenda. But I think that the scope has been broadened in the sense that there will also be a discussion on the, on the broader challenges to peace and security, on the need to improve our way of working in terms of also not only resolving but also preventing crisis moving forward, operationalizing the Secretary General's vision for a search of diplomacy, and addressing pressing issues such as Syria. But this will continue to be a main part of the agenda.
And his letter also said the permanent mission of Sweden will correspond directly with Security Council members regarding logistical and travel arrangements. So I thought it was worth. Is every member meeting their own costs? Is there some cost? Is Sweden? What's Sweden's, I guess, contribution to this weekend
Sweden's
retreat?
Contribution is that we are inviting the members of the council, and so we are paying for the costs related for. That would be, usually they would be going to Long Island at Green Tree, and so any additional cost for traveling beyond Long Island to Sweden is also on our account this time.
And what about for the secretary, for the Secretary General, Mr. Lacroix, whoever else would be going?
There is a cost sharing there, but for the senior UN leadership, it's on their account.
Okay.
They are also doing, I should say, a state visit to Sweden, which is nothing strange. That's happening all the time, and so I think that's important as well. That there are two legs to their visit to Sweden. And so the Secretary General, with some of his senior staff, will continue from the retreat to Stockholm to meet with my Prime Minister and to also hold the annual Dag Hammarskjöld lecture in Uppsala. More information on that I'm sure we can be sharing with you. It will be live streamed, and it's really something that we are looking forward to in Sweden to host him there.
I'm just sorry. Now that based on one of your other answers, and it's not. What's the budget of it?
I'll have to get back to you on that, but we put that on our website actually. Okay. So I think that you can look at the Swedish government website, because these questions are always important to Sweden. We are a country of transparency. And so, we are not doing anything like this without full transparency, including on the costs.
Did none of the countries say we're willing to bear our own costs? We're bigger than you, or
no one has volunteered that, but maybe you should, you're welcome to pitch it around and see if anyone catches up on that.
Do the individual countries pay for their trip over, or what? Or do you pay for the whole thing?
No, we are offering that. I mean, I think that it's a fair thing. There are many. I wouldn't make a big thing out of that. I mean, there are many conferences and meetings that take place in and around the world, of less significant, to be honest with you, than this one. And so, I wouldn't stick too much to that issue. But to just look around and see how things work, and in that context, I think this is a quite limited investment given the opportunity that it offers to both Sweden, but more importantly to the Council and the Secretary General.
But just one final, what would you say to smaller countries that get elected to the council? Clearly, they couldn't do this. So although it may seem,
Yeah, I mean, it does. I don't think it's a requirement that you can invite anyone to come to your country. And I mean, I think it's the first time that it ever happened. So I'm not, suggesting that we are starting a new trend that should, I think that what we saw now was that this was a quite unique moment in time for the Council, where there might have been more than in the past a need to take a step back and have some reflection. And we happen to have a quite unique place to do that. And it was the occasion that it was newly renovated only last week. And so the two came together. It was just this match that made us come up with this idea. And the SG liked it. And so here we are.
Thank you.